Delilah Coleman was only 5 years old in June 2024 when a 18-wheel tractor trailer plowed into her stopped car traveling at 60 miles an hour or more. The driver was an illegal alien let in by Joe Biden and given a commercial driver's license by open borders politicians in California. Please stand up. Many, if not most, illegal aliens do not speak English and cannot read even the most basic road signs as to direction, speed, danger, or location. That's why tonight I'm calling on Congress to pass what we will call the Delilah Law, barring any state from granting commercial driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
That was President Trump on the devastating story of 6-year-old Delilah Coleman, severely injured at age 5 in a crash by an illegal alien trucker in 2024. He was driving an 18-wheeler in Southern California. He came in under Joe Biden's open borders. California gave him a trucking license. She now suffers from traumatic brain injury. Her life has permanently changed. Joining us now from Senate Judiciary, so excited to talk to Alabama Senator Katie Britt. Senator, an honor to have you on. Great to have you on. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. What do you make of the story? Democrats apparently did not applaud for Delilah either.
Absolutely ridiculous. Look, President Trump last night laid in front of America a hope, something that we have needed after the last 4 years of Joe Biden. Joe Biden's disastrous policies led us to a place where something like this happens to sweet little innocent Delilah. And President Trump has said, I am going to secure our border. I'm going to make our streets safer. And we're going to make sure that these things don't happen again. When you see Delilah and you see her dad pick her up in his arms, what you're applauding is the courage of that child. You're applauding what she's overcome. You're applauding the adversity that occurred as a result of this and the resiliency that family has had. Look, that's the American spirit at work. And the fact that Democrats cannot clap for a first-grade little girl who has overcome the unthinkable shows you how really broken their party is. And look, I think we saw it on full display again, too, when the president said, do you believe your duty is to protect American citizens? And yet, once again, they couldn't get on their feet or even clap their hands.
You know, Senator, you make an important point. You know, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy last week called for more than 550 driving schools to be shut down because of safety failures. Senator, there's like 200,000 illegal alien truckers on the road. Many can't read or speak English. But, you know, there was an interesting fight that broke out. Sorry, just 1 second,
No,
Senator. I'm so sorry. You know, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy really pushed back on CNN's Jake Tapper. Watch this.
He said, quote, these people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. I mean, but that's not something we ever heard from Obama or Biden from that stage.
No, we've never had a speaker rip up a speech either. But when you're saying issues like we're talking about trucking, we have, and it comes in my space, where you have states that are issuing driver's licenses to illegals who haven't been trained to drive a 80,000-pound truck on an American road. We have a little girl that had a life impacted for the rest of her life, and she's 5 years old, and it was an illegal who hit her. I think the question becomes, why doesn't every Democrat stand up and go, no, we want well-qualified drivers on American roads? That's not partisan.
That's not partisan. That's common sense. What do you say?
Absolutely. Look, the things that President Trump is doing are common sense. I mean, you think about what Democrats have told us over the last 4 years of Biden. They said, we can't fix our border. We have millions and millions of people coming over because we need legislation. We knew last year we did not need new legislation. We needed a new president. President Trump has delivered on everything that he has said. You think about Laken Riley's mom. You think about Jocelyn Nungary's mom. You think about Rachel Marin's mom. They wish they had a president that that put Americans first. That's exactly what we're doing. Here you have a group of Democrats that are too afraid to offend illegal aliens that are mindlessly driving on our streets with a CDL license, which, by the way, we are hearing stories like we did with Delilah. We are hearing more and more stories across our country, and we're hearing from our trucking associations. We want to have safe streets. We want to be able to move our products and people around safely, and that we need these types of parameters. These are common sense. So it's not just in this space that seems that Democrats have walked away from what people should be able to call a bipartisan issue. It's things like you saw President Trump say about the transgender, pushing that ideology on children, keeping it from their parents. It would be common sense we wouldn't do this. But over and over and over again, Democrats seem to placate to the left, Elizabeth, and they have lost the values that make this country so dear.
Senator Britt, you were terrific. Come back soon, please. We love having you on the show.
I'd love to.
It's good to see you.